Hey everyone, Sel here. In this video, I'll be discussing how I made what I think is one of the best bows in solo self-found at the moment. If you disagree, definitely let me know down in the comments and why. So, picking up from the end of last video, I had Harvest gambled an Icy Brothers card into 2 Fracturing Orbs, rolled a Spine Bow for +2 arrows, and successfully fractured it, resulting in this bow. So we'll consider that our starting point for today. Between that and the Headhunter I was pretty excited to have a new goal. I'd just done quite a bit of juiced magic find farming with the new Wisp strategy, so I was ready to switch it up a little bit, dig into a bit more of a grind, and see how it went. So I decided to farm some essences, hybridized with Maven 10-way invitation farming, just really doing general destructive play things. And I have been checking the league mechanic every map, just aiming to do quick maps, not really focusing on any league mechanics other than Affliction and Essence. And changed my Atlas tree for the 100th time this league to facilitate that, and it was going pretty well. I had a plan of farming up a decent amount of essences and converting a lot of them with Harvest into essences of Contempt, the ones that give flat physical damage, and then using that to craft a bow with hybrid physical damage on it. The plan was to keep essence spamming until I got at least tier 3 hybrid physical damage, tier 1 or 2 being better, of course, and an open prefix. Or high increased physical damage non-hybrid. Would have been fine with that too, of course. So I started farming essences, and I thought, tree's a little tight to do everything I want to do super effectively all at once. So I'm going to run my essences first and then circle back, use Harvest sections that I have to get the life force I need to start doing some swapping. And the plan was to use Contempt essences that were Shrieking or Deafening, and other essences I would convert up to, or trade up, I should say, up to Deafening, and then attempt to convert those to Contempt. Because if I'm swapping, I don't want to spend that much life force swapping all of my Shrieking, so I'd just rather do the Deafening, even if it was going to take me a little longer. For reference, tier 3 hybrid physical damage is about a 1 in 400 chance, so about 400 essences on average. Tier 2 hybrid physical damage would be, I think, 1200 on average. And tier 1, a little over 2000 on average. That's a lot of essences to be using strictly Deafening on, which is why I decided to use my natural Shrieking of Contempt as well. And I probably would have eased up on my upgrading situation and used lower tier essences for swapping at a later point too. But I was farming in tier 16, so I could have done the essence farming portion a lot quicker as well. And I was getting, a few hundred essences per hour. Not all of those are going to be Contempt, of course, but there was a lot to figure out left on the strategy. But I'm a little bit impatient, and so I decided, instead of saving up 100, 200, 300 essences, I've got like 30 right now. Why not throw them at it? See what happens. So here I am doing the last little bit of swapping. I kind of gone back and forth on how much I wanted to swap. I had a little bit more Harvest Life Force than I realized, so I went ahead and used what I had pretty much. So went ahead and swapped some more. This was again about 30 essences in. I think that was my 32nd essence. And we can see here, I ended up hitting Merciless. Tier 1 increased physical damage, alongside Reavers, which is tier 6 hybrid. Now, with the bonus from the Tempering Orb, is that what it's called? Nope. Don't remember which one. The heist one that gives you the enchantment on the weapon here, 8% increased explicit physical damage or physical modifier values. I completely neglected to mention this, but I got that in 2 orbs right after I fractured it. Didn't mention in the last video either, so I thought I would here. And with those 2 mods together, plus the enchantment, 227% increased physical damage. Now, with the original way I intended to do this, I'll explain the more typical way this craft goes. You essence spam until you hit hybrid physical damage that you're okay with, whatever tier that might be for you, and an open prefix. Then you scour the suffixes. Hang on. Yeah, you scour the suffixes. You'll have flat physical damage, hybrid physical damage, and 2 additional arrows. Then you Ashling Slam in Betrayal, hoping to unveil a prefix for the hybrid increased physical damage mod. I know I said hybrid. It's not really, it occupies the same space as the Merciless mod here, which we can skip ahead again and see what that is exactly. But they'll come with the bonus of, you know, chance to poison, chance to blind, etc., things like that. Impale is one of them as well. And so that goes up to 139%, combined with my acceptable tier 3 or higher hybrid, would have been around or just under 200% increased physical damage. So this one landed at 227%, and I was ecstatic. The odds of hitting Merciless, which is tier 1 increased physical damage again, alongside any hybrid physical mod is about 1 in 48,000 essences, which is mind-numbingly unlikely. It's just basically not possible, really. Which is why you typically wouldn't be essence spamming in this type of situation. I also think for bows, the deafening essence is a little worse than the tier 1 physical roll. I don't know how people craft synthesized bows, but I'd be curious to learn about that as well. Anyways, moving on from there, the plan was originally to then do some harvest crafting, depending on how much I liked the prefixes, basically. I was going to prefixes cannot be changed, and then harvest reforge speed until I hit an acceptable attack speed roll. And I ended up opting not to do this because I liked the prefix rolls too much. But the reason I was going to do that is because it's a 1 in 12 to get 3 suffixes in that case. And at that point, it's either a 1 in 6 if I like the attack speed roll, or it's a 2 in 6 to remove a mod, or sorry, hang on, there's a fractured mod in the equation. 1 in 5 to remove a bad suffix, or a 2 in 5 to remove one of the 2 bad suffixes. So basically a 1 in 12 times a 60% chance to completely ruin the item, and depending on the bow, again, prefix rolls, I would have been okay with that risk. So didn't need to do that, because you can't have 2 Betrayal Unveiled mods on an item at once. If I had an Ashling prefix, like I originally planned, I would not be able to do another Ashling Unveil or a Veiled Chaos Orb to get attack speed. But because I got a natural physical damage roll, now I could do that. So I went ahead and decided to do the typical prefixes cannot be changed, Ashling, Unveil, aiming for attack speed. The bow also needed quality, so I ended up doing some hillock as well. Here, setting the quality to 30%, and went for the Ashling Unveil. I believe, if I looked things up properly and checked the math, that blocking charges is the way to go. So that's what I ended up doing here. Damage per charge, that is, which is an Unveil. I believe these are all in the same mod family, and they have pretty high weight, so you block those with a Benchcraft before you Unveil. And ended up getting Blood Rage and Attack Speed, which is not really what I was after, and I really didn't want to have to deal with the Blood Rage degen all the time. And so I ended up going for a couple more Ashling Unveils. To make a long story a little bit shorter, I started to run out of missions and decided my third go around that I would settle. Second time around, I ended up getting Chaos Damage over Time Multiplier, which has a specific use, but I'd rather have the attack speed mod be the fixed explicit modifier and not the crafted modifier. So I wasn't satisfied with that, went again. And on my third try, I got Blood Rage attack speed again, and I decided to settle for it. The other option would be attack speed and strength and intelligence, I believe, which would be a bit better. You know, stats are always nice, especially those ones on a dex aligned character and build in general. And again, the Blood Rage degen, not the nicest thing to deal with. I decided to settle because I'm kind of itching to use this thing, and it's pretty nuts. It's probably the best item I've ever had in a league, Headhunter included. Yeah, I'm just pretty excited. And here's the final product on screen now. So I mentioned I wanted the attack speed mod to be the one unveiled, so I didn't have to craft it. Because I could use this bow on a Poison Caustic Arrow character, and I think I am going to attempt to do so at least and see how it goes. It's going to require me to change my setup a little bit, but, you know, I like experimenting with things and making videos about those experiments, so it sounds pretty fun to me. But I did want to leave the option open here to craft crit chance if I want to play a more typical, like, cold conversion, tornado shot type of build, which I probably will end up trying at some point just to see if I can pull it off in Solo Self-Found. I mean, I have an insane bow and a Headhunter, so it's like it can only be so bad at that point, right? But yeah, that's pretty much my story about how I crafted this bow rather. If you have any input, things I could have done better as far as crafting odds go, I'm definitely open to hearing them. If you have any of your own crafting stories, definitely give me some deets down in the comments. And yeah, let me know what's the craziest item you've ever crafted, if you don't have a particular story about it. Anyways, that's me for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Peace.